Hello and welcome to our class. Today we will discuss how to receive mail in Exchange server using SMTP Protocol. The thing is, after the installation, Microsoft Exchange Server 2010 cannot receive mail from Internet. So let's find out how SMTP works and how we can configure Exchange Server to receive emails. This class was created for you by Jonathan Rabsin and is the part of PractiQ courses. You can get these courses on www.practiq.com. There you can find a lot of classes about virtualization, VMware, MSITP, programming and other useful and interesting things. So you are welcomed. And now let's discuss SMTP. SMTP is the protocol used by email servers to send and receive emails. Also, SMTP is used by client-level email programs to send emails. However, keep in mind that client email programs usually use different protocols to receive emails from email servers. So, when one server wants to send mail to another server, they will communicate with each other using SMTP language. We can study this language and we can issue our own commands using it. By default, a well-known port number 25 is used for SMTP communications between two servers. From the very beginning, we can point out one major weakness of SMTP protocol. It is the lack of authorization between different organizations. This impossibility to check the identity of the sending party makes all the email spam possible. Is it really so hard to introduce authorization? It turns out it is. Imagine that my organization has its own email server, and there is another email server belonging to Google. Google doesn't have any kind of account on my server. There is no login and no password that my server can ask for when receiving emails from Google server. To have such login and password, Google got to create its own account on my email server. And naturally, that is something that Google is not really interested in. So, to make sure that it is possible to send email from one server to another, we've got to allow receiving unauthenticated emails. There is no worldwide Active Directory, though Microsoft is trying to implement a system that will give everybody some kind of personal ID. But for the time being, there is no single entity which everyone trusts to handle logins and passwords. So, every organization manages its logins and passwords by itself, and it doesn't look possible to open accounts of each organization on each email server. This is the reason why we have so much spam. It is still possible to control spam, and we will learn how to do it in a separate video. And now back to SMTP. To tell you the truth, SMTP is the protocol that makes life considerably harder, because it is used to send emails between different organizations, but also it is used to send emails within each single organization. You might have an inner client that connects to your server using IMAP or POP3 protocol, but these protocols are used only to receive emails. To send email, the client will use the same SMTP protocol. The difference between inner client and outer server is that the inner client must be authenticated before sending or receiving emails. Why is it so important to get logins and passwords from our clients? We want to avoid situation when someone illegally connects to our client port from outside and sends spam from our client's account using our client's name. The worst thing that might happen is a so-called relay. This is when some malicious third party connects to our server without authorization and sends the whole world advertisement, spam, from our name. Just imagine that some spammer connects to our email server through port 25 and starts to send advertisement to Gmail clients, to Google. One of the ways to fight spam is to block spammer's IP, preventing any emails from arriving from it. When Google will see spam arriving from our mail server, it will block our IP address and our real clients will not be able to send any emails to any Gmail clients. To address this problem, we will use separate port, not port 25, for our clients. Everyone who wants to connect to our server using this port will need login and password. Now, let's see how we can make all the things work. To start with, we got to connect our Exchange server to the network so it can send and receive emails from outside. I go to my network adapter menu and set it to bridge mode. Now my network adapter sort of looks outside. It looks like another computer in a LAN. The next thing we should do, we must change IP addresses. Let's see if we've got some static IP addresses here. Most likely there is a static IP address. 10.02. Now let's close virtual machine and enter my real computer. Now ipconfig. We are dealing with Windows 7. I can see that my internal network is 10.0.100.102. Let's set it up to 10.0.100.218. Pretty random IP. Class A. Default gateway is 10.0.0.1. DNS server, self, because this machine is not only Exchange server but also DC server. So we've changed IP address. In order for Exchange to work correctly, we also got to update DNS settings, because remember, we've changed DNS settings. We've got to update IP addresses on DNS server, because by default, during startup, it will use old IP addresses. So, how do I change it? I go to Services. You know what? I will restart the computer. You know what's good about both Active Directory DC and Exchange servers? Usually, in 99% of the cases, in majority of cases, both applications, I mean Exchange server and Active Directory DC server, both applications are dealing with DNS and not with IP. So Exchange is defined by the name of the server. All the settings are stored connected to the name of the server. So when I'm changing IP address, the only thing I got to do is to restart, and DNS will update automatically. We will see that inside ADSI edit, inside Active Directory, all the settings are stored connected to the name of the server. That's why the first rule of Exchange is never, 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 ever change the name of the server. Even if you don't like the name that you've assigned to the server, you cannot change it after Exchange has been installed. I know the guy who attempted to change the name of the server, and he almost got fired for that. Actually, he could have went to Active Directory and manually change all the names of the server from old name to new one. But he have chosen a wiser path, and he simply changed the name of the server back to the old one. So, don't repeat his mistakes and never change the name of the server, because all the settings inside Active Directory are stored connected to the name of the server. It happens automatically when you install Exchange server. So, let's give our server the time to restart, and I will pause our video to skip the waiting. Now the server is ready, let's make a couple of checks. First, let's go to SMTP Protocol. Let's check if it works correctly, try a couple of commands. Let's use Telnet to send something. We can send it to, let's say, my server, or, you know what, let's send it to the real email on a Hotmail. This is a specially created mailbox, and we will practice SMTP by sending all kind of spam on this mail address. Also later we will use this mailbox to learn to fight spam. So I write telnet, some name or some IP address, let's say all nines, then port 25. This IP address is, well, not real, and we do not care because I know it won't work right now. Later we will replace it with a real Hotmail address. Let's go to our training mailbox, Johnny Agever. This one is specially created for us to practice. Let's go to inbox. Most likely it will be full with some kind of Facebook notifications. And for now we forget about it. Okay, here it goes. Now, using Telnet and using SMTP language, we want to send to our inbox some advertisement. We will act exactly like a mail server sending spam. We send our message directly to Hotmail server. So how we do it? First, we use Telnet. Why Telnet? Because it's the simple program that will show us exactly what server replies to us. And on the other hand, each our keystroke will be sent to server. So Telnet acts like a remote desktop, but without graphic interface. Actually, that's how some people call it, remote desktop without graphic interface. We establish remote connection to Hotmail server, to port 25. Why port 25? Because I want to use SMTP language to send server my email. Now we've got two problems. First one is, we do not have Telnet. Telnet is not included by default in the system starting from server 2008. So we go to features, we press add features and we install Telnet client. Why client? Because we want to connect to server. We don't want anyone to connect to us. And now it is installed. Keep in mind that Telnet provides us insecure way to establish connection, so it shouldn't be used for security-sensitive tasks. Telnet sends and receives data just like keyboards and monitors do. Now we have Telnet client and we can establish a connection with our random IP address. Naturally, it won't work because this IP address isn't real. We don't have enough patience to wait until Telnet rejects it, so we will just open another window. Now Telnet is working and the next problem is to find the real IP address of Hotmail. You can see how it can be done in our DNS video. We need to know what is the MX. Have MX of Hotmail. For servers, each one has a priority of 5. In other words, we can use any one of them. It's just a load distribution between 4 different servers. If, let's say, this one had a priority of 10, then first I would have checked 3 other servers. And only if none of these 3 servers worked, then I would have switched to the server with the priority 10. Hotmail decided to use 4 servers and each client is free to choose any of them. The names of these servers, as you can see, is MX, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Each server, as you can see, has a few different IP addresses. This is round-robin approach. Few servers united by one name and each server got different IP addresses. It doesn't matter which IP address from this list we choose, so we take one and we try the following. Telnet, IP address of one of Hotmail servers, and port number 25. Let's hope that this server will allow us the connection and will not block us in any way. Wait for it. Wait for it. Maybe we are blocked for some reason. Oh, no, we are not. This long string of symbols is a welcome message from the SMTP server. I start writing the commands using SMTP language, SMTP Protocol. The first command is hello. I tell to server, hello, my name is yoni.ad.practicu.com. This is the name of my server, yoni.ad.practicu.com. This hello is not just a welcome. It defines the standard that will be used during our communications. This hello is the part of the most standard set of commands from the very first version of SMTP. Instead of hello, I might use eHello, which is extended hello. Extended version got more commands in it, including commands required for authorization with login and password. So I say hello, and server replies hello, and then states my IP address and my name. Next command is mail from. This command will tell the server that the mail is sent from yoni@practicu.com. The sender is yoni@practicu.com. It replies sender OK, and it means that we can proceed. Then RCPT2, recipient 2. Destination for our email will be johnnyhgever@hotmail.com. It is important not to make any typing mistakes, because if we do, we cannot press backspace. We will have to press enter and then re-enter the whole command. So it replies us 250, and it means that everything is okay. So I say data, and this is one more original SMTP command. Subject, pirsomet. This is Hebrew for advertisement. We will use, I don't know, ta as a text for our email. And then dot and empty line and the email. Now, let's see if we succeeded. Here it is, email from yoni@practicu.com, subject pirsomet. Let's see the content. Content is correct. This is exactly how email servers send emails to each other. Of course, users don't have to write all these commands. But to tell you the truth, in the very beginning of emails, this is pretty much what the users were doing. Email was created in form of text file. Then this text file was placed in a special folder. And then server was transmitting this text file to another server. This text file was filled with the commands like this. So we want our server to both receive and send emails. And remember that by default our server doesn't do any of that. An interesting fact, if you will use sniffer on a channel used by two SMTP servers, you will see all these commands, because the commands are transmitted in unencrypted form. Now let's see what kind of troubles we might encounter. Let's connect to Hotmail server again, but this time we will be sending email to the client of another server, Gmail. Once again we establish telnet connection to Hotmail server. Now, oops, wrong command. Server tells us to say hello first, so we say hello. We are, let's say, yabadabadoo. Server answers hello. Mail from viagra@mivza.com. Server replies that the sender is okay. Indeed, it got no way to know if such a sender really exists. Oh, it's a wrong command. Now I got to press enter and re-enter the command. RCPT2. I'm communicating with a Hotmail, but this time I will use it to send my spam to, let's say, Gmail. RCPT yoni@gmail.com. It doesn't really matter what address we use there. What matters is that we are trying to use Hotmail to send email to someone else, not the Hotmail client. Hotmail answers. Requested action not taken. Hotmail refuses to transmit third-party email to someone else. In other words, Hotmail refuses to serve as a relay. So again, this is called a relay when someone who is not a server's client asks server to transmit email to another non-server client. On the other hand, if I am a server's client and I provide server with my login and password, server will transmit my email to anywhere. Let's sum up what we've learned so far. SMTP Protocol is used to send emails to the server's clients. In this case, authorization is not required. Also, SMTP Protocol can be used to send emails to the outside, to non-server clients. When it happens, server should be configured to ask for authorization, for login and password. So far, we've seen the following commands: hello, mail from and the address of the sender, RCPT2 and the address of the receiver. Then there was data, and it was the content of email. Then there was subject command with a topic in it. Blah 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 was just a meaningless content of the email that we've chosen. Period and enter in the end of it meant the end of the email. Let's say that user complains to system administrator that his or her emails are not reaching some Hotmail client. The first thing that system administrator will do is sending email manually using SMTP Protocol, just like we've done here. It will allow system administrator to see the replies of the server, and perhaps it will allow him to find out the source of the problem. For example, there might be a message that your IP address has been blacklisted. In this case, you will need to find online organization handling these blacklists and give them some kind of explanations, saying that you will be a good boy and you will not spam ever again. They will remove your IP address from blacklist, but if you do it a couple more times, they will keep you blocked for a really long time. And now let's discuss how we can teach our own email server to send and to receive emails. To start with, let's check our email server using telnet. So, telnet 127.0.0.1 port 25. So far so good. Let's say hello. My name is Chaim. Server greets me and so far everything is okay. But now, mail from persamot@stem.com. And now, watch the reply. Client was not authenticated. Server expects login and password from me. I haven't provided it, so server refused to communicate with me and disconnected. This is an important fact for us. Starting from Exchange Server 2007, by default, all the incoming connections through port 25 require authorization.